Hello, Universal fans. What is good? This is Bruce from 407 and Beyond Vacation Company and the Disney Co. in the Know podcast. This is episode 10 of our Universal edition of the show. You can catch us on iTunes at Disney Co. in the Know and on YouTube at Disney Co. in the Know. And today we are going to be talking about the resorts that have opened up at Universal Orlando as of yesterday. Just want to address first where you might be wondering, where is the rest of the team? Well, we did film a podcast last night with our contributors Steven, Jacob, and Hannah, but unfortunately we had some tech issues and we're not able to upload the video. So I am going out solo today talking about the resorts that opened up yesterday at Universal. And then as our Universal Spotlight, we will take a little bit of a deeper look into the Endless Summer Resort, the Surfside Inn and Suites. So join us, kick back, and let's talk about the latest Universal news. So before we do, I just want to say that our show and our podcast is sponsored by our travel agency, specifically to Disney and Universal. So we have Disney and Universal experts who help plan your family's perfect vacation. So all you have to do is show up, have fun, and create family memories. As always, our services are free to you. So check us out on the web at www.407vacations.com. All right, so one of our latest articles on our blog, which is 407vacations.com/in the know. So you want to say in the know. Is about the resorts at Universal that reopened as of yesterday. So as you know, Universal opened up on June 1st to special guests, those with reservations, and will open up to the public on June 5th. If I said July, forgive me. It is June 1st and then open up to the public on June 5th. So Universal came out recently and said, with the reopening, and they're doing it in phases, that 6 of their resorts were going to reopen on the 2nd, which was yesterday. Those include the Hard Rock Hotel, the Royal Pacific Resort, Sapphire Falls, Universal's Cabana Bay, Aventura Hotel, and the Endless Summer Resort, Surfside Inn and Suites. And then now, actually, on Friday, the parks will be open to the general public. So at that point, anybody can go. If you've been following along on social media with the Universal's reopening, it looks like things are going smoothly. They have markers on the ground to maintain safe physical distancing. Masks are being worn. They're really emphasizing cashless transactions, so paying with your Apple Pay, a debit card, a credit card, anything that's not cash is what they're really trying to emphasize. And as part of the reopening of resorts, they have taken some precautionary health and safety measures. So I'll just read what Universal has given to us. So guests and team members, so guests and employees, are required to wear face coverings in public areas of the resorts. So I imagine that is some food service areas, the lobby, anywhere where there's a congregation of people. Team members and the vendors will be required to have temperature checks upon arrival. So that is, employees, those with the temperature of 100.4 degrees or higher will not be allowed to work. So, looking at their language, it doesn't look like anyone with a high temperature has the choice to work or not, or to go home, but they are being forced to not work if the temperature is too high. So guests will be asked to self-screen for COVID symptoms and comply with quarantine orders prior to arrival. So, trying to put a little bit this on the guests that if you are not feeling well or you think you may have COVID-19 symptoms, to please not go to the resorts and the parks. Guests will also have their temperature checks upon arrival, and the same applies with employees, that any temperature of 100.4 degrees or higher will require medical clearance to enter the hotel. So they are doing this before you enter the hotel. Resorts are also going to provide hand sanitizer and stations in public areas and elevator landings. So it will be there after you press buttons or use common areas in the resorts. And One thing they did emphasize is that enhanced cleaning of guest rooms, meeting rooms, and public areas will be cleaned with cleaner and disinfectant. Same thing goes for frequent cleaning of high-touch areas such as telephones, remote controls, door handles, light switches, elevators, tabletops, and others. Food and beverage outlet capacities will be limited, so the amount of guests who can go into food service areas within the resort will be limited, and there will be social distancing signs that will be visible, as well as markings on the ground. And then trying to make as several contactless experiences for the guests as possible, including check-in and check-out. That includes your luggage delivery and so forth. So Universal really, trying to step up their health and safety measures and protect guests and employees. They are part of the first wave of theme parks and resorts to open up in Orlando. Disney doesn't open up until July. So, this over a month period between Universal opening up and Disney opening up, Universal is really on the forefront of, taking these measures to protect guests and employees. So, everything that we're seeing looks like it is going smoothly. I saw the line outside of Universal Orlando this morning. It looked like guests were staying 6 feet apart. And they had separate lines, some for pass holders, some for those staying at the resorts. So it looks like things are going well. I hope things continue to go well, and and there's that fine balance between having a terrific guest experience and then implementing health and safety measures. And it looks like Universal is doing well on the forefront of that. So one of the resorts that you heard me say was reopening yesterday was Universal's Endless Summer Resort Surfside Inn and Suites. And so this is one, and I wanted to do this as our Universal Spotlight this week, because this resort comes in at Universal at that value level. And we stayed there when this first opened, did a little review of it, checked it out, and I was really impressed with this resort. So it is a little bit of distance away. They have great transportation. The Universal bus system is incredibly clean. But let me read to you the description of this resort as is stated on Universal's website, and then I'll talk about our experience staying there and why I think this is a great resort to stay at with your family. So it says, step into the surf lifestyle. This fun, family-oriented value hotel introduces extra affordability to your Universal vacation. The feeling here is relaxed and easy, which I can attest to it is, with a cool surf vibe woven throughout. And as you'll see, I'll put up this picture here of the lobby. You can see that, yes, in fact, it is very much surf-oriented with the vibe woven throughout. In addition to beachy, surf-themed standard rooms, Surfside Inn and Suites features spacious two-bedroom suites that sleep up to 6, making it the perfect spot for families of any size to experience a Universal Orlando resort vacation. The sister resort to this is Dockside Inn and Suites, which is also part of Universal's Endless Summer Resort, which will be opening up and be more dockside themed. So yeah, when you first walk into the lobby of this resort, the first thing that you will notice is just how spacious and airy it is. From this photo here, when we walked in, it was actually in the middle of the night. This was about 1 in the morning, which is why the lobby was so cleared out. But even in the middle of the night, you can see how spacious the lobby is. Well, not just spacious, but how light it is. And the aesthetic looks like you're in the water, in the waves. So right off the bat, this, for being a value resort, this was, aesthetically, this is a really, really good resort. So I keep mentioning that it's a value resort. So let's talk pricing. So I'll bring up this photo of the check-in area while I talk about pricing. So resort stays here for a standard room you're looking at a starting price, and I say starting price because prices do vary depending on the time of year or the day that it is. Weekends are more expensive, and prices are yielded. So you're starting at looking at $79 per night plus tax. And that price is really based on a 5-night stay. So if you're staying less than that, the price will begin to go up a little bit. But you can get rooms at this resort for about $79 a night based on a 5-night stay plus tax. 2-bedroom suites that I was reading about in the description that sleeps up to 6. If you base it on a 5-night stay, you're looking at $120 per night plus tax. So if you really are going for the week and you're taking the family for the week, you know, and you have more than 4 family members, or you just want to get a suite, $120 per night plus tax is a great deal. And based on the aesthetic, the cleanliness, how spacious it is, and it just feels brand new, and that's partly because it is brand new, but also because of the aesthetic and cleanliness of the hotel. $120 per night is a really good value. So price is always relative to clients and guests staying at the hotel. So I'm only speaking towards the value of the price towards what my experience was at this resort. So some of the benefits I'll tell you what, I will also pull up real quick and I'll talk about the pool before I talk about the rooms. So you walk through the lobby, which I had just shown, and all the way, you walk right through it, and in the back, it opens up to this seating area, as you can see here, and this fish-shaped pool, excuse me, and then there's a lake in the back. So, really cool, and the resort kind of shapes itself around this pool, kind of making the pool the centerpiece, and it's just a great pool for families to relax. So yeah, let's talk about some of the benefits of staying at a Universal resort. So you do get early admission to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, and if you have watched our show in the past, we talk a lot about the Wizarding World. That's just one of those IPs that is great to have in the theme parks, and one that a lot of our guests and a lot of our clients really relate to as much, or definitely more than some of the other IPs in the parks. So you get to enjoy early park admission to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, and Universal's Volcano Bay, which is their third gate or third park. It is a water park 1 hour before the park opens. So you get that 1 hour of extra time to either walk around, get some breakfast, which is what we like to do, or go get in line for the attraction that you're trying to avoid the lines later on in the day. When you stay at a Universal resort like Surfside Inn and Suites, you do get free transportation to the parks. So complimentary shuttle buses connect this value resort to Universal Studios Florida, and Islands of Adventure, and Volcano Bay. This also includes City Walk, but City Walk is so close to the parks that it's all kind of one. So you just hop on a bus. The bus will take you over and drop you off, and it is incredibly convenient. This does not include transportation to MCO or Orlando International, but we can always arrange transportation to Orlando International Airport. So another nice thing about staying at a Universal resort is that when you purchase something in the stores, whether it be in the theme parks or Universal City Walk, which is kind of this district of shopping and dining, for free of charge, they will take your packages to your room. Usually it's that night or the next day, but it's kind of nice to be able to go buy something and not have to carry it around the rest of the day. So the rooms at Universal's Surfside Inn and Suites we found to be clean, pretty spacious. The aesthetic of the wood paneling on the sides and just kind of the light beachy surf theme was just really fun, and it just felt really upbeat. The wood is a light color, and it just overall felt it just felt welcoming, which is something that we really enjoyed. So, excuse me there. When you are hungry and it's time to eat, and you are not at the parks and you're not at City Walk, there are some options at Surfside Inn and Suites. First is the casual food court. It's called Beach Break Cafe. And they have what they call SoCal inspired flavors and fresh ingredients. Everything on their menu is $12 or less. This was a pretty adequate food court. It was pretty well themed, very enjoyable, but and the food was okay. But definitely a good place to take the kids to get breakfast before you go into the parks. They also had a sand bar out by the pool area. So if you wanted to grab drinks, you could definitely do that at the poolside bar. It says that they have cocktails, frozen drinks, wine, beer, and smoothies. And then one really nice feature about the Surfside Inn and Suites is that there's a Starbucks in the lobby, and it's actually right here behind these surfboards. And it's nice that the Starbucks is in this resort. A lot of times with resorts or theme park resorts, you got to go out to get your coffee unless you want to get it at the food court. So really nice feature that Starbucks is there. Sometimes they did have long lines, but if you're up there early, you should have no problem getting your drink before catching the bus and heading over to the parks. So that is the Universal Spotlight for this week. If you are a listener or a viewer of the Universal edition of the Disney Co. in the Know podcast, you will know that we usually focus in on the Wizarding World. In addition, we use Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, the novel, to kind of guide our discussion on the Wizarding World. And the reason why we do that is because, it's a good way to see how Universal Orlando in the Wizarding World adapted our favorite movie and our favorite movies and our favorite books, and how you can kind of really live out that experience in the parks. So that's why we use the novel. We go chapter by chapter. This past week was chapter 10, Halloween. We were talking about some merchandise, and as I said at the beginning of this video, that unfortunately the video was not able to be uploaded to YouTube and iTunes, but so instead you get me on a solo show talking about resorts. But next week we're going to be talking about all things Quidditch, where you can get your Quidditch supplies, the Quidditch scenes in the attractions, and so we have a pretty exciting show for you next week talking about everything Quidditch in the parks. Which you could definitely find yourself buying a lot of Quidditch merchandise when you are there, whether it be in Hogsmeade or Diagon Alley. So I think that's going to do it for this podcast of the Universal edition of the Disney Co. in the Know podcast. Like I said before, check us out on iTunes. We have our Tuesday shows that are Universal focused. We have our Thursday shows, which are Disney World or Disneyland focused. And then occasionally we have episodes pop up that is either advice or fun conversations, our top 3 this or that. So check us out on iTunes if you are an audio listener at Disney Co. in the Know podcast. And if you like to watch videos and you like to kind of watch the behind the scenes of the podcast, very kind of raw footage, check us out on YouTube at Disney Co. in the Know. And if you want to stay up to date on all the latest theme park news, whether that be Disney or Universal related, including Disney Cruise Line, Alani Resort, Adventures by Disney, check us out on the web at www.407vacations.com/in-the-know. And an easier way to even follow along on the news is to follow us and like our page on Facebook at 407 and Beyond Vacation Company. So guys, until then, stay well. Thanks a lot for watching this video. Subscribe below. In the comments, let us know if you have been to Universal this week or if you plan on going this summer. And remember that our travel agents are more than happy to book your family's perfect Universal vacation. So guys, take care, and I'll see you in the next episode.